everyone, it's Carolyn here to share another channeled message from the Light Keepers, a group of angelic beings I channel for your awakening and ascension journey support. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to talk today about the journey to ourself. However, it's also about the journey to potential new partnerships and what that looks like and how you know that may be coming your way. And that does include romantic relationships in particular. Now, that doesn't mean everyone is out there building and growing in themselves to get a romantic relationship. That's not what awakening is about. But there is a component to this that can occur. Of course, everybody has their own individual soul journey. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be with someone or wants to be with someone. But I'm going to tell you right now, there is a pattern and there is a method to how this actually unfolds if you just let it flow. And remember, this is not the end goal. And I will talk about what the end goal really is, because it's all about you. All right. So we're going to talk about some of these things today. I'm going to outline some things that you're going to potentially notice that will help you understand a bit about where you're at in your journey to really, okay, they just said wholeness, okay? WHOLENESS, wholeness of yourself. So we're going to talk about that today, and I hope that you take a piece of this away for your own journey, because like I've always said, we have a big puzzle that we're creating for our own journey, and we keep getting little pieces every time we listen to a video, every time we read a book, every time we have an experience. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. I'm Carolyn. I'm a channel. I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I thank you so much for joining me today. I offer these channels for your support during your life journey. And check out below if you want. You can get more Light Keepers channels through my email list. There's a link that gives you a free video first of all, and then weekly you'll get a channeled message from the Light Keepers for your support during this journey. Okay, so I'm going to read the channel that they brought through, and then I'm going to talk about a number of things that I've either noticed for myself or I've noticed in others that I work with. And there is a common theme and common pattern to a lot of this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with the channel. Find that as you journey across time in your way, the relationships you have in your day will be away from special ones that you wish for in your life. For it is an individual journey, first and foremost, as you awaken in your day. Those who come in often go, and then some stay, but it is those you know that as you travel on your journey so wide across the course of time, as you learn about yourself more and grow within yourself, it is you that stands strong within your own self, understanding your own ways, speaking your voice of who you are, growing greater along the way too. No more of this giving away of yourself and finding those who do not match you today. For you are growing further, and it will not be any other kind other than those who come your way, who are of your vibration, and have also done their work in time. For as you awaken, it is so true, many of you find relationships are no longer your due. For you are growing further, and it will not be any other kind other than those that come your way, who are of your vibration, and have also done their work in time. For as you awaken, it is so true, many of you find relationships are no longer your due, and broken apart they are, and off you go on your way to learn and journey to find yourself today, not giving yourself away or defining yourself by another in time. For desperation and wondering who you are often is given away to another to determine who you are. And then you get yourself into a whirlwind in time, giving yourself away and never knowing who you really are, only desperate to find love and searching out those who give you attention in your day, at times the first ones who come your way. For this is long lost, but this is no more of what you will do. For as you journey in your awakening, we find, remember, the awakening is most importantly about finding your own deep inside, the core of who you are, standing strong and tall, living in your own high vibration today. But this is a journey. Yes, it is, and does not happen quickly. For many, it is a long time before they understand that it is they who make themselves today, not another. It is only that they are enhanced by another's presence in time. But oh yes, it's true. You will soon understand that it will not be a desperate move when you find someone paying attention to you too, and wishing forever that you could drown in them. For this is not what the awakening time is about. It is about equal presence of each standing in their own strong self today. But it is the desperate move to have those who pay attention to you be the ones who are for you in your day. For when you give yourself away to anyone who pays attention, for many of you do this and have done it across a lifetime, we say, this will break down at some point as you awaken today. And then you work across the course of time and you see yourself change and shift as you build new relationships, testing the waters, and all of a sudden, you're a stronger version of yourself today, not giving yourself away, standing strong and tall, with boundaries too, understanding who is of your like, and also realizing who may not be in time. But they come into your way, and you into theirs, to continue the individual growth of the soul. For this again is the awakening journey. It is about you becoming you, the truest nature of you that has been long lost in humankind. Suppressed, yes, by experiences that have held you down and making you feel like a lesser version of you. But know that these are all learnings that you are reclaiming yourself today. And then as the time comes, no longer desperate, searching out another, repeating over and over again the lessons you thought you learned but didn't in time. For space is needed in between of learning who you are. For you are your own greatest gift you can give yourself in the awakening time. And as the time comes, you may wonder, do you really need a relationship or wish for one too? For you are so comfortable in your own self and love the life you have built today. For this is a critical juncture to understand that you may feel this way. For this means you're ready for the potential of an energetic connection with another. But it will not be forced. It will not be desperate in time. It will only be out of equal portion, we say, that each of you has come forward from your own learning. And it will happen oftentimes in the awakening with the blink of an eye, never expected. But remember, you have worked with perseverance on your journey in the sense of knowing yourself and learning from the past, for they were all lessons on the great ladder of growing in knowing who you are. Climbing to the top of the tree, you now have a broad view and understanding what is in your way too. Most importantly, knowing the deepest of you of what you love and what you wish for and what you know, and that you will never again give yourself away. Those with energetic ties to you bind, for they will be coming to your way in time. But this is the journey of patience, we say too. Long lessons often in realizing that first and foremost your journey of awakening is about finding your own inner self today, not on the outside looking in, but on the inside looking out, the deepest of you. Okay, so that's our channel. There is so much to this, and I have to tell you, this has really been my journey, and in many, many ways. And I will say to you right now, the journey of finding yourself is interwoven with the relationships that we have. I firmly believe we cannot find our match, our partnership match. And again, I'm going to say, not everybody is going to have a partnership match. Heavenly Days, I have been on my own since, well, a good 20 years, with the exception of Kent coming into my life. So this is something that I want to make really clear. I'm not saying everybody has to have a relationship, all right, because that's not true. What I am saying is there is a journey of self-discovery on the road to a potential relationship. But that should not be your goal. If you make it your goal, you're going to find that you're really wrong-headed and you're headed down the wrong path. The goal is to journey in your own life, to build your own life out, so that you aren't doing what they say here, which is this desperate pleading and longing to be with someone where you then give yourself away. Whether you're a man or a woman, this can happen. We all can tend to get into patterns, and we could talk all day long as to why this happens. What we're talking about today are signs along our journey of self-discovery, because remember, awakening journey is first and foremost a journey of self-discovery. We have for so long lived on the outside of ourselves. We have not understood who we truly are deep inside the soul self of us. That's what this journey is about. And when we start that journey, we start discovering how much there is, how much wonder there is in living in ourselves, not living for someone else or through someone else or being desperate to find someone else. Okay? So along this journey of self-discovery, which can be years, it can be years. And I really want you to understand this too, because I know so many people who will start their awakening journey, or they're in their awakening journey and they're in a relationship and it's not working, okay? Because most of us, or many of us, come out of relationships that aren't working. They end and fall apart because we're changing, we're shifting and changing, and we are to move out of that relationship. But the first thing we have a tendency to do is say, oh, when is my next partnership coming? That's wrong-headed. That's not the way to go, because all you're going to do is meet the same vibration that you're in, because you're growing. You're growing. And yes, along the course of this journey of self-discovery, you probably will have some partnerships. But the thing is, those aren't necessarily going to be the lasting ones. They will come in very much to teach you something, but sometimes they'll just rattle your cage to be here and kind of smack you around and say, wake up, this person's not for you. And it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It means that you are still on this self-discovery journey. I firmly believe we will continue on our own and choose that we may not want to be involved with someone because we love our life so much that we have built. Now, there also is the other side of the coin where, maybe you are ready and you're feeling it to share that with someone else, but this is a journey. And so it's not something that happens overnight. So the wrong-headedness of coming out of a former relationship, and I think we kind of all know this, but we have a tendency to feel we have to be in a relationship because honestly, that's what our cultures have taught us, that we must be wrapped up in a relationship. But the thing is, many of us have not been prepared for this. And the awakening journey teaches us that self-discovery, finding out who we are, that long journey we have, sometimes years, and I'm here to tell you years, okay, of self-discovery before we might meet a match. But what I want you to know is that should not be your end goal. Because if it is your end goal, guess what? You're just doing the same thing over and over again. You're giving yourself away to some kind of magical thinking, all right, that you're going to go out and find that person. I'm here to tell you now, it is about your vibration, growing in your vibration, growing in love for yourself. And then as you make that journey, your vibration, your light shines more. And then you start meeting matches of your like vibration. I've seen this in clients. There's one person who is the perfect example of this, who has gone through so many struggles over the years with relationships and family, and everything broke down to absolutely nothing. And it was the most difficult time. And as we know, the awakening journey can do this, but this person's situation was all revolved around relationships. It didn't work. And being able to tear yourself apart from that is so difficult, but that is so much a part of your journey. Okay, so I just got interrupted doing this video by the city taking the fallen tree away. So we've had a terrible storm here, and I think I told you about all that, the land hurricane. Anyway, so I'm just hoping this next part isn't too disjointed, but I'm going to try to get back in the vibe here. I'm just so excited the tree's going. Anyway, needless to say, I'm so sorry about that. So here's the thing. Many of us will move into, throughout our journey, different relationships. These relationships are completely meant to happen. They are like stepping stones along the way to our journey to ourself. All right. Now, what can happen to us is if we're used to the way of patterned relationships from the past, we may fall right into one and get stuck in that relationship. But the awakening journey is not going to let that continue. Okay. You're going to have a difficult time if this person is not of your vibration staying in that relationship. Now, here's the thing. You're there for a reason in that relationship for that period of time. And this can be any relationship, but I'm really focusing on right now, I'll just call it romantic partnerships or partnerships. And what happens is these people will come into your awakening journey to help you grow. Also, to help you understand that, I still have growing to do. Now remember, this isn't all of a sudden I understand that. This is through struggle and strife lots of times in a relationship, or where you're like, why did I do that to myself again? Here I am. I'm in a patterned way. I've just attracted the same kind of person. Again, I want to make sure you understand there's nothing bad about that person. They're on their own journey, but this is about you and where you are going and where you are to be. But as your vibration starts to raise, you start feeling uncomfortable in these relationships and you start recognizing what is going on. And sometimes you have to be broken down completely before you understand that you've just done it to yourself again, even in the awakening journey. So keep in mind, are you one of those people like I was, where you would finish up a relationship and the next day, almost literally, you would have another relationship? And again, what it is about is this patterned way of being. And it does talk a lot about our inner self, the growth that we are needing inside of ourselves to love ourselves most fully and not be defined by someone else. They should be an enhancement to you, not a definition of who you are. So remember that. So what we find in the awakening journey is we will have relationships, okay, either start to break down and then we finish them up. It could be a marriage, could be a long-standing marriage, okay, could be a long-standing relationship. Breaks down, we start over again. But oh boy, if we don't spend time with ourselves, guess what? And I'm talking sometimes it can be years. This is not about spending a few weeks alone or a few months. This is self-discovery. This is work. And a lot of people misunderstand that. Oh yeah, I've spent time on my own. I've had a month of being single. No, that's not going to work. I mean, I think it's the very, very rare case that would work. That would mean you've done tons of work before that and all of a sudden, boom. But there's a quite expanse of time where if we are not in our own self, love of our own self, understanding of our own self, and that again is why we're going through the awakening journey, is to discover that. So most likely you're not there, right? You will uncover yourself as you move forward. As you uncover yourself and you start to understand yourself and you start loving yourself and you start realizing who you truly are, what you love, the life you're building, you now start raising in vibration because you're, again, not defining yourself by a relationship or by somebody else or what somebody else wants you to be. You know who you are. You know who you are. And I'll repeat that over and over again. You know who you are. When you start knowing who you are, guess what? You are who you are. You're not going to be something else for someone else and shift and change like a chameleon just so you can be in a relationship, because you don't need to do that anymore to define yourself. For so many years, we have done that to ourselves in society. If you look good at a lot of how we've been taught, well, we're not whole until we have a relationship. I mean, that's still out there. Like, find your match. But no, it's about first and foremost self-discovery. The end goal in life is not to find your relationship or your match. It's to find you. So I'm just going to tell you right now, this can be a lifelong journey. I have been through all of this. I will tell you now. I just mentioned earlier, I've spent a very long time being single. And I am fine with that. I'm happy in myself. Every day that goes by, I am enjoying more and more of my friends, my family, the life I have built. But that doesn't mean I'm not now open to it. And I do feel that as we get to that point, things may shift and change, and you may find yourself going, wow, okay, number one, either I'm so happy this way, I can't imagine my life any other way. And so that vibration is there, and you are living your own life, you're living your own journey, and you're not lonely. Damn to be what everybody else says about, oh, aren't you dating anyone? Don't worry about that, because that's not what defines you. That's not what defines you. And then the other part of that is you may find that, unbelievably, to your own surprise, as you get to a certain point, you start realizing, wow, maybe this would be interesting. Feeling that kind of feeling like you'd like to maybe meet your match. But the thing is, you don't effort at it. You don't go try. You don't go work hard. You don't do these things. You don't do these things where you then wrap yourself back up into that pattern. Because I don't care how many years have gone by for you being on your own, discovering yourself, your awakening journey. I will tell you right now, those patterned ways are hard to break. But the thing is, you will have done your work and you're a new person. When you look back and you go, oh, wow, Look what I used to do to myself. Look what I used to do even to the other person, because it wasn't a match. But again, they are a learning along your way, that mountain that you're climbing to the true understanding of who you are, that deep soul of yourself that defines you. Nothing else defines you. And when you get in that place of wholeness, and remember, we always continue to grow, but when you're in the place of wholeness where now you're moving to that next level, so much more opens up to you because of your vibration, because now you've done the work and you're starting to become a match for other people who are of that like vibration. And instead of attracting people who may be of unlike vibration to you, you're now attracting your like vibration. It matters significantly. So I'm going to give you a few things to consider. I'm just going to list these out. These are all things that kind of are signs, I guess I will say, that you're on that path. I guess we're all on that path, right? But on that path, on that journey, or that will give you some indication of where you're at with all of this. Again, your priorities are balanced, all right? Your priorities are balanced. They're not all about finding the guy or the gal. Oh my gosh, so many of us do that when we are younger. But the thing is, it will continue as we grow older as well, trying to define ourselves out of someone else. And what do? You're just a chameleon. You just become whatever you feel the other person wants and desires. And it is so uncomfortable. Your soul self will tell you that. You will find the discomfort and the unhappiness, because that's how our soul speaks to us. Dissonance, not feeling like something's right, but we have to be consciously aware. And on the awakening journey, it's all about opening up our consciousness. So if we are not in the right relationship during the awakening journey, we've put lots of times with relationships, we'll put our heads in the sand. Well, our head is coming up out of the sand in the awakening journey. There is nothing that we can do about it. And all of a sudden you start going, oh my gosh. Now remember, for the other person, it's the same thing. You're not a vibration to them. So they're on their own journey, and they're also doing the same thing of climbing the mountain of vibration, all right? And self-discovery, all right? That's the key. Self-discovery, self-love of who you truly are, all right? So your priorities are balanced. It's about you, it's about other people, but first and foremost, it's coming from your own deep inside of the understanding and knowing of who you truly are. And then you're able to give that without shifting and changing like a chameleon who you are. That no longer happens. You've gotten past old patterns, all right? We talked about that earlier. Old patterns of attracting the same kind of individual, the same vibration. You know how this works. We'll just use abusive relationships. One person may get out of an abusive relationship, but then they find right away, within the next few weeks, they have found someone else and they've gone searching, right? And guess what? They're back in another abusive relationship because there has not been any space and time in between for them to do their own growth. And, forget whether somebody's awakening. You see this happen all the time, right? But the awakening journey will not allow you to do that to yourself any longer. Any longer. You will get a big smackdown and you will be driven to the understanding of yourself. So I want you to be aware of that. This can't happen to you any longer as you continue to rise in vibration. And if it does, it will be so uncomfortable and you will be firmly tested. I guarantee you. I know people out there who will say, that's me, exactly. And then I woke up even more. Another way to tell is you're not giving yourself away anymore. And I mean giving yourself away. You basically are living outside of yourself. Everything is externalized. It's all defined by that other person because you're so desperately seeking that love or that affirmation from the other person. But guess what? During the awakening journey, it's gonna come from your own self. You define that for yourself. You give that love to yourself. And then as that happens, then guess what? That other person's love is an enhancement to your own, but your own love for yourself and understanding of yourself and definition of yourself comes from you, comes from you. Oh, here's a good one, okay? So watch for this because, oh my gosh, this happened to me in spades. Old relationships that you thought were finished up and done, maybe you didn't really understand what was going on there. You thought you did, even this far in the awakening journey. I actually had this happen. I had a former relationship pop back in. And without going into a lot of detail, in all of its glory, showed up in raging spades of what I actually had lived with for so long and put up with for so long and dealt with. Now, I'm not saying this wasn't a purposeful relationship. It was. And there were many wonderful times. However, at the core of it, nope. I was pulled into something that didn't serve me. Obviously, there were lessons for it. But the thing is, it's been done and said for eons. And it popped back in just a month or two ago to clean out because I had to understand what was really going on here. And I did. And I was able to articulate it. And then as soon as that happened, it was gone. You learn your lesson, it's gone. You learn your lesson, it's gone. Seriously, you do the deep digging, you do the deep learning, you do the understanding, you do the meditation, you take care of yourself, you do the self-care. This doesn't just come by going, oh, that happened. And it's work. It's what's going on here? Why is this back? Oh. And it's your intuitive knowing that's going to help you. As we move forward in our awakening journey, your intuitive knowing is going to help you understand these things that are coming your way. So these are all lessons. There isn't one person who doesn't come your way during the awakening journey that is not meant to teach you something. And of course, it's always reciprocal for you to teach them something too. But we're worried now about your own journey. All right. The next one is, like I said, milestone tests. You're going to have these, all right, from your awakening journey. Well, and you have these all through your life. But remember, we're consciously aware of our journey now during the awakening. This is kind of the deal, right? We're aware. We know what's going on. And we're learning this as we move forward. So you'll have these milestone tests, just like I did. Like, hey, where are you at with all of this? Where are you at with your self-love, your self-definition? What you'll put up with and what you won't. How you'll be treated and how you won't. What will you put up with? Will you continue that vibration that may not have completely been cut? Or are you going to take the reins and know that this little piece that was still tethered to you needs to be cut? Okay? So that's going to happen. You're going to have milestone tests. People are going to pop back into your lives. And then what are you going to do with it? Okay, so the other thing that I've noticed too is that you have a grounded feeling. It's not this situation where somebody shows up in your life that might be a potential interest to you, and all of a sudden you just drown in them. And they use those terms, drown in them, where you're at the high diving board and you jump in. You don't even care how deep it is. You just jump. But you did not have a clue what was going on at all. You didn't test the waters. You didn't see how deep it was. You didn't have a clue. And guess what? It happened again. So being grounded is super important. It's not getting whisked away into these romantic visions of things that happen and then let yourself just drown in that. And it's okay to have, romantic visions, but don't let that be the driving part of you. Get grounded. And here's the thing. That's a natural process in the awakening journey. So again, you understand grounding. Most all of you, if you don't, you can look that up. It's really connecting in and not letting yourself live outside of yourself, okay? When we live outside of ourselves, we can't manifest and connect to what I call the ethers and to the earth, all right? You can't manifest what is appropriate for you. It's hard to get that vibration going regularly. So staying grounded is important. It's really kind of hard in the awakening journey. But when it comes to relationships, oh my gosh, it's key. A grounded feeling in yourself. Solid in yourself. Something else to watch for is that you love the life you've built and yourself. So it doesn't mean your life's perfect. Whose life is perfect, right? But look around. Look what you've done over the years to get to where you are. Now, I know a lot of you are just in the beginning of this journey, but I'm here to tell you it is a journey of eventually looking back and going, oh my gosh, who would ever have thought that and I'll use myself as an example, who had gone from one relationship, and they were always long-term, but so there haven't been that many, but one relationship to the next since mid-teenage years, literally with no space in between, would have found herself with, over a decade plus of being on my own, with the exception of when Kent came into it for that very short time, highly purposeful, started my awakening. But who would have thought I would be sitting here just happy in myself, loving my life, loving my journey, continuing to grow, and not done that same pattern thing that I did, which was repeat that same thing over and over again of feeling like I had to be in a relationship to feel whole. But if one was to come my way out of the blue, which is another sign, out of the blue, you're not looking for it, all right? You're not deeply searching and yearning for that thing. When you let the flow happen and you just put it in the background and you work on focusing on the growth and building out of yourself and the building a beautiful life for yourself, guess what? Then these things can come out of the blue. People can come out of the blue, and maybe a relationship. But here, my main point, one of my main points in this is what they really want you to know is our focus should never be on finding the one, because when you do that, you are never finding yourself. You have not had the opportunity to find yourself. And the thing is, as you start meeting people that are of your like vibration and you've been on your awakening journey, you're going to have a gut knowing of who these people are. It's going to be very different. It's not going to be the ungrounded connection that you used to have. It's grounded. You're plugged in. And you know it. You feel it. Something's different about that individual, about that person. And then you let things flow. You don't do the jump off the high dive and, just start swimming again, because we still have some of those potentials for past patterns to pop in. But I'm going to tell you right now, as you grow in vibration, that can't happen anymore to you in the way that it used to. It can't happen. And like I said, I have a number of people I know that have rebuilt their lives from literally scratch. Everything was pulled away from them because they had to understand. They didn't understand the journey beforehand. They were giving themselves away, relationship after relationship, defining themselves through another. And that never works. And you see it all the time with people. You see it all the time, all right? It doesn't matter what culture you're from. And the thing is, I am not here to denigrate relationships, long-term relationships. There are many people that have had a working relationship that has done well from day one early on, and they're still together. But there are so many of us who do this thing of searching and yearning, and it's because we have never understood who we truly are. And the awakening journey is here to go boom, boom, boom. Hello, you're your own love. You're your own love. And through the deep work that we do in this awakening journey, not weeks, not months, years, people will come our way to help us understand where we're at in our journey and the growth that is still needed, and you will know. Again, it's all about continued growth in time. And eventually, people do meet their match. I've seen it over and over again. And what happens is you're meeting a like vibration, and then you continue to grow in your individual self together. You're an enhancement. Remember that. Your relationship is an enhancement to who you are, who you have built, not a definition of who you are. So I hope this has been helpful today. It's kind of been all over the map because I had my tree guys show up to take a tree down. And it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get back into that vibe? But hopefully you got a little something out of this to take away for your own awakening and ascension journey. So thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget, purplerainhealing.com. Check out my services. I channel through all of them information for your awakening journey, past lives prolifically, soul journey information from your inception to where you are today. You get a real understanding of who you are in these sessions. And I also do distance energy healing and spiritual awakening mentoring that includes channeling and all of this. I would love to help you on your awakening and ascension journey. So check out my services, purplerainhealing.com. And again, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.